Well, no deal. The hot war is back on. Tel Aviv is a ghost town. Our allies are on fire, all because of the criminal incompetence of these idiots that MAGA elected. To get a deal and stop the war, you'd have to have a sober grasp on reality, and this administration specializes in denial. But one piece of reality is setting in for the administration. This is the brawl for it all, the last stand for the American empire, full stop. America's entire platform for escalation dominance and dominance throughout the world rests on their ability to get their way with Iran, and these guys just lack the competence. So since the administration won't face reality, we have to. Here are 7 hard truths about the war in Iran. 1. Iran was never going to do a deal directly with the West because the West always kills their deal makers. The sheer treachery of the United States and Israel's negotiating tactics is what got us here. Draw the diplomats out, then drone strike and decapitate them. It's how Trump killed Qasem Soleimani in 2020, and it's what started the 12-day war last year when Israel pretended it wanted to negotiate and just killed the negotiators. And now serious negotiations with Iran only happens through a third party, whether it's Pakistan or Qatar or Oman. Netanyahu and Trump's treachery is what killed the trust that they would need to negotiate the end to this ass whooping. Karma. 2. We were lied to from the beginning about the causes of the uprising in Iran, and the Iranian diaspora is complicit. They weren't protesting the regime, they were protesting the collapse of their currency, and Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, was bragging about how the sanctions made that happen. Even the New York Times' warmongering ass admitted that it was Mossad and the CIA sending provocateurs in there shooting Iranian cops and causing all that death. The death toll wasn't even close to 30,000. It was about 1/10 of that. And what do some of these Iranian royalists and diasporans do after their family is killed? Come back to the internet crying about it. And as a member of the African diaspora, can you help me understand? Because there's no situation where I would move to Ghana and then say, hey, Russia, please bomb DC, knowing that Howard University is right there. There's no situation where I'll say, please bomb Wall Street, black folks are being oppressed, when Harlem is right there. Sorry, royalists, Reza Pahlavi was never gonna be president. Any military analyst worth their salt would have told you that wasn't gonna succeed, and you set forth the propaganda narrative that caused the slaughter of your own people. It's hard for me to find some tears about it. 3. Israel may not exist 20 years from now. Their imperialist ambitions have imploded the state. Ain't gonna be no greater Israel, just greater Iran. The IDF said so themselves. It would take 6 times the force they got now just to do that for Lebanon. Capital is fleeing right along with the young people. Tourism has stopped and the cities are in shambles. And even if Israel rebuilds all the way, the genocide in Gaza has made it a pariah state. Along with their actions in Lebanon, they're gonna be choked out just for lack of trade. When my children are my age, we ain't gonna have to argue about whether or not Israel has the right to exist, because on its current trajectory, it won't. 4. This is really a war with China, and secretly they win. These missiles that's busting everything up is actually a hybrid of Iranian and Chinese technology. Not only that, but Iran acquired access to China's TEE-01B and BeiDou satellite systems years ago. Now, with that geolocation ability, they hitting American installations with Money Mayweather precision. The US bases in the Gulf region are more cooked than chicken at a black barbecue, which serves China's interest because it subtracts America's footprint in Asia and opens it up for China's Belt and Road Initiative. China gonna outbid any reconstruction effort, and since this war proves the United States can't protect the Gulf partners, that means that there's no incentive to have them in the region. 5. U.S. military high command is beyond compromise. See, if there was really going to be a revolution in America, it shouldn't have to start with the people. It actually should start with the military generals and the intelligence folks, but they're not going to do it. Even though military high command has every self-interested reason to do it, including the loss of pensions and retirement for arbitrary firings by this administration, the loss of life of the men under their command, and the catastrophic loss of military equipment in this war. We're talking billions of dollars lost now, trillions down the road, loss of aircraft, bases, missiles, loss of contracts, loss of credibility, loss of respect and reputation, loss of decades of strategic positioning in the world in a matter of months. But since they too psychologically programmed to follow the chain of command and too compromised with MAGA sympathizers, they have no good to their men or the American people. 6. The Democrats ain't gonna save you. Not only because they have the same ultra-wealthy donor class as the Republicans, not only because they have the same military contractors that are donating to them, but because they don't play as ruthless as their opponents, especially when it comes to election integrity. There are reasons to believe that the last election was stolen, that Trump ain't even the real president. Can you imagine if the shoe was on the other foot, if there was a Democrat president talking about, oh yeah, we don't need any more votes, we have all the votes that we need, thanking Elon Musk for those those magical voting machines, you never hear the end of it on Fox News. There's real reason to believe that something was off with the vote count for Kamala Harris and Thomas Massie. Nothing from the Democratic establishment. And had they taken these claims seriously or just fought with that same kind of dogged determination that Republicans have, you wouldn't even have to play outside of ethics, but we wouldn't be in this situation right now. Do you realize that all the hope that people have in 2026 and 2028 are based on the assumption that the elections would be fair? Why the fuck would you believe that given the evidence we have? But since the Democrats are committed to playing fair with psychopaths, there's no reason to believe that they'll win. 7. The real pain for the American consumer hasn't even hit yet. HFI research reports that we are just under 9 million barrels away from legit gas lines around the corner. According to oil futures experts, we could be looking at this before the end of the month. Wait, it gets worse. According to the American Farm Bureau Federation, 80% of American farmers cannot afford fertilizer right now because of the Strait of Hormuz. Food shortages, gas shortages, you get the picture. We in for a wild ride. So what do? The first thing is to look squarely at the situation for what it is. The most powerful weapon in the world is not an intercontinental ballistic missile. It is an accurate assessment of the situation, and that's something you ain't gonna get from this administration. Which means your biggest op right now is not their lies, it's your denial. Don't lie to yourself, then their lies have no foothold. Which also means that a correct, clear-eyed perspective is armor. And now I've done my duty to arm you. Now you do your duty and arm your neighbor. Share this message out if you think this is important. Theo E.J. Wilson here, Brother Tej, holla back.